I was actually going to work on a different story, but another story we were covering of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle leaving the royal family has actually opened up again, because Prince Harry at a charity event actually spoke out for the first time since announcing his decision to step down from the royal family, and the decision by Buckingham Palace yesterday that he would they were going to no longer receive public funding. They would no longer use their titles, and despite the fact that the couple, Meghan and Harry, wanted to continue to honor their commitments and continue to serve the Queen basically, and the Buckingham Palace told them that wasn't possible, which was not what they wanted. And yesterday, there were reports that it was a compromise. They gave up their titles, or they were going to maybe have them removed. It depends on which media outlet that you're reading. Overall, the news for Meghan and Harry was not as good as what they had looked for when they initially announced their cottage, $3.1 million. And at a charity event, he actually spoke out, and it was shared on Instagram by the Sussex Royal, which is their official account. And I will show that to you now.
To honour our mother's legacy in supporting those affected by HIV and AIDS. Before I begin, I must say that I can only imagine what you may have heard or perhaps read over the past few weeks. So I want you to hear the truth from me, as much as I can share, not as a prince or a duke, but as Harry, the same person that many of you have watched grow up over the last 35 years, but now with a clearer perspective. The UK is my home, and a place that I love. That will never change. I have grown up feeling supported from so many of you, and I watched as you welcomed Meghan with open arms, as you saw me find the love and happiness that I had hoped for all my life. Finally, the second son of Diana got hitched. Hooray. I also know that you've come to know me well enough over all these years to trust that the woman I chose as my wife upholds the same values as I do. And she does. And she's the same woman I fell in love with. We both do everything we can to fly the flag and carry out our roles for this country with pride. Once Meghan and I were married, we were excited, we were hopeful, and we were here to serve. For those reasons, it brings me great sadness. It was so many months of talks after so many years of challenges. And I know I haven't always gotten it right, but as far as this goes, there really was no other option. What I want to make clear is, we're not walking away. And we certainly aren't walking away from you. Our hope was to continue serving the Queen, the Commonwealth, and my military associations, but without public funding. Unfortunately, that wasn't possible. I've accepted this, knowing that it doesn't change who I am or how committed I am. But I hope that helps you understand what it had come to, that I would step my family back from all I have ever known, to take a step forward into what I hope can be a more peaceful life. I was born into this life, and it is a great honour to serve my country and the Queen. When I lost my mum 23 years ago, you took me under your wing. You looked out for me for so long, but the media is a powerful force. And my hope is one day our collective support for each other can be more powerful, because this is so much bigger than just us. It has been our privilege to serve you, and we will continue to lead a life of service. So in that respect, nothing changes. It has also been a privilege to meet so many of you and to feel your excitement for our son Archie, who saw snow for the first time the other day and thought it was bloody brilliant. I will always have the utmost respect for my grandmother, my commander-in-chief, and I am incredibly grateful to her and the rest of my family for the support they have shown Meghan and I over the last few months. I will continue to be the same man who holds his country dear and dedicates his life to supporting the causes, charities and military communities that are so important to me. Together, you have given me an education about living, and this role has taught me more about what is right and just than I could ever have imagined. We are taking a leap of faith, so thank you for giving me the courage to take this next step. So,
there's Harry's words from his mouth to your ears. There's been a lot of speculation in the media that Meghan, she's the one that did all of this. It was her. She broke up the royal family. And it didn't help that Daddy Markle, was talking to Page 6 saying that Meghan destroyed the royal family. With a dad like Thomas Markle, do you even need enemies? Seriously. He is terrible. I can see why they're estranged. So, in Harry's own words, he says that they had no choice. He also brought up his mother's death when she was chased by paparazzi and died in a car accident in a tunnel in 1997. Wow. I was in high school. I still remember the day that Diana died, like it was yesterday. And that moment in his life has shaped him forever. And due to the unfortunate reaction of the British media and the paparazzi to him and his wife, he was not going to go down that same road. I don't think that if you have followed Prince Harry throughout his life that this should shock you that he is leaving. He's always been kind of a black sheep, getting in trouble for drinking, going to parties wearing Nazi uniforms, just sort of beating his own drum, waiting for a long time to get married. And finally finds a woman who he insists is the same woman he married, who holds the same values as his, wants to have a private life. In their engagement interview, when they announced the engagement to the press in 2017, he said that all he ever wanted in his life was a private life because he was born into this life. And he even said at that time he was concerned about how the media would be to his new wife. And he had tried to prepare Meghan for it. And the press has been terrible to her. Things that they would applaud Meghan for, or not Meghan, Kate for, they have just thrown her into the dumpsters. And is it right? Is it wrong? She's an outsider. She's already been divorced. She's she's mixed race. She has a lot. She's 34, 35, 36 when they got married. She's an American. She was an actress. So many things that, was out of the norm and not a lot of people wanted to accept. And Meghan, who has always been an outspoken advocate for feminism and for women's rights and didn't want to lose her voice, obviously lost her voice. And between they've taken lawsuits out against the media for things that they've said about them. I just read on Twitter that Piers Morgan somehow leaked a private conversation he had with Meghan. Everyone in that area is trying to make Meghan being the bad guy, but I don't think that Meghan and Harry met by accident, and I don't think Meghan or Harry picked Meghan by accident. If he didn't want to be there, he found the perfect person not to be there with. And he was apparently on a red carpet trying to hobnob, get Meghan some voiceover work in Hollywood. They have a lot of plans, I guess, to, have her get back into acting and just go back into a more peaceful private life. And having his entire life out for everyone to divulge all these moments, I can understand why he wanted to step back. Now, some of the biggest questions still are who's going to pay for the security? Apparently, the details have not yet been released. Apparently, Prince Charles, who is next in the line for the throne, so he will take over as king when his mother, Queen Elizabeth, passes away, is still planning to fund at least $3 million of their life each year through his own purse of private money. But they give up all of their public sovereign grants and all of that. The security detail remains unknown at this point. Taxpayers still believe that they will be on the hook for the security detail because he is still a very high profile person that is still part of the royal family and a son of the future king. So we'll have to see how that works out. But I think the media during this time has been very unfair to Meghan, making it be all her fault. But it takes two people to make a decision, and I'm glad that he stuck up for his wife, and I'm glad he spoke his truth. And I'm not from the UK, so I do apologize if the way I cover this just doesn't make you happy. But for me, I see two people that just want to move on, and so I say let them go. Life is way too short. As Meghan says, life is too short to just try to survive. You also have to thrive. And she said that in a documentary this last fall with ITV in Britain. So Meghan and Harry, I do wish you the best. I'd love to know what your thoughts are about his parting, or about why they made the decision. Are you surprised that they didn't have a choice to step back? He said he wanted to continue, but the Queen basically said, no, that's not possible. So he didn't get what he wanted. He wanted to still fulfill commitments to his grandmother, but unfortunately would not be. So it does sound like things were taken away that they didn't want taken away. Probably a happy medium, maybe a compromise. Queen Elizabeth has been adamant that she still loves her grandson tremendously and loves Meghan. So hopefully they can all move forward into a private, more calm existence. One that is not so nasty to Meghan. And I guess as a child, his mother's death profoundly affected him, and I can understand why at this point in time he is making this decision. So, what are your thoughts? If you had Harry's life and you were born into it and this was your only option and you just wanted freedom, would you do what he did? Or would you just suck it up, go with tradition into a outdated system where the monarchy holds no control of the government and really is more of a tourism draw and a tradition than it is a ruling authority? Let me know what your thoughts are. If you have not yet, please subscribe to my channel. Also, make sure you check out my social media. YouTube has been absolutely terrible the last few days with notifications. So check out my Twitters, my Instagram, and my Facebook. I always post at least 10 minutes before I go live, since YouTube does a pretty bad job lately of notifying you guys. Also, later tonight, I will be back. I'm going to answer your questions. So I have done some Q&As in the past where I have answered questions. I am asking you to ask me questions that you want me to answer. And I'm not talking about what's your favorite interview or how did you get started on this channel. I've answered those a million times. Be creative and think about something that you want to know about me. It doesn't even have to be about the content I cover. If there's a personal question you want me to answer, ask me. If it's something I'm willing to answer, I'll let you know. And I will be posting your questions on air. So please join me later tonight. I'm hoping to do that around 7 p.m. Central Time, maybe 8 o'clock Central Time. I'll let you know as soon as it is. But if you have questions you want me to answer, leave those in the comments below as well. All right, you guys, I'll be back later. And again, thank you so much for joining me. Bye.